Would you look at that? The Colorado Rockies, after an off day on Monday, come into this game tonight, start of a little road trip, and they take care of business against the Washington Nationals, winning this game by a final score of 3-1. Austin Gomber on fire, Nolan Jones back in the lineup, Ezekiel Tovar, Brenton Doyle. Lot to like about the game tonight from Los Rockies. We got Buddy Black talking on the TV right now, which means we've got some things to talk about as well. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this game. Let's break it down on tonight's installment of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Let's go.
You are Locked On Rockies postcast, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
W's in the chat. W's in the chat. The Colorado Rockies, baby, taking down the Washington Nationals by a final score of 3-1. You absolutely love to see it. Colorado improves to 47-79. So the body of work this season for the Rockies has not been so great. But today, one of those clean games, man. You know, I love baseball. Like, this is my ideal type of baseball game. Also, what is up with this early start time? Locally, I expected on the here in Colorado, but it was even early for an East Coast Standard Time. First pitch, I believe, was at 4:45 local time here in Colorado, 6:45 in Washington. I feel like most games start like 7:10. So it's not like we're talking about a tremendous difference in when this game started, but what time is it right now? It is 7:22, and I get to do the postcast. You know, there's still light outside. I might be able to, go take a nice little walk after this. So I'm a fan of the early start time. And clearly the Rockies must be as well. Same start time tomorrow, but Colorado doing some good stuff tonight, winning this game 3-1. And we have to start with Austin Gomber. Before we do that, though, guys, make sure to follow me on social media at Media by AP, and make sure to subscribe to the brand new Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Only about 6 weeks left in the season, folks. Hard to believe, but we're really, nearing up to that home stretch of the Major League Baseball season. So subscribe, and, when one season ends, another begins. Football season is on the horizon, and I am the host of the Locked On Broncos postcast, as well as the Locked On Buffs podcast, or postcast, excuse me. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss your football conversation as well. But this is a Rockies show, and Austin Gomber was absolutely phenomenal tonight. And I caught Drew Goodman early on the postgame show. I forget what they call it exactly. And this is just, I believe, the second time in Austin Gomber's career he has gone 7 innings and allowed 3 hits or less. So one of the best starts in Austin Gomber's career, and you absolutely love to see it. I was at the gym when this game had started out, and I was listening to it in my headphones, and I think it was like an 8-pitch bottom of the first inning for Austin Gomber. And if you listen to the postcast on Sunday, if you're a regular listener of the postcast in general, you know that the first inning is Austin Gomber's kryptonite. If Austin Gomber is able to put forth a solid, clean inning in the bottom of the first or the top of the first, if the Rockies are, or I guess, no, this would have been the top of the first because they were on the road, excuse me. Either way, when Austin Gomber pitches well in the first frame of the ball game, odds are he's going to put forth a quality start. Maybe not as good as he was tonight, but what was it? It's probably dropped, but I remember about a week and a half ago before I got sick, when I did the postcast after Austin Gomber's most recent start at that point, I believe his ERA was something like 11.42 in the first inning in particular this season. Let's see, what is his ERA collectively for the year right now? Let me pull this up here real quick. Box score. Where's my box score? I don't know what the heck. Oh, there it is. Austin Gomber, he's got a 4.64 ERA on the season. So not exactly a great collective ERA at 4.64. It's probably decent by Rocky standards. But, when your ERA is essentially almost 3x that in the first inning, you're able to kind of pigeonhole some of your problems here if you're Austin Gomber. So nice to see him get out to just a really nice start in this one. And then from there on, cruising along Austin Gomber's line tonight, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts, and the 1 run came via the long ball. So, that's just the reality situation, right? That's going to happen, every now and again. CJ Abrams there in the bottom of the 6th inning, his 18th home run of the season. That made it 3-1 at that point in the game. And of course, that is your final score as the Rockies go on to win this baseball game. A little sweaty there in the 9th inning. The Nationals had runners on first and third, runners on the corners with only 1 out. But, lo and behold, the Rockies are able to get out of it. Shout out to Mr. Shavili, the closer tonight for the Rockies, his first career save for him. So a little bit of adversity they had to face there, but sometimes you got to make it a little bit interesting. Sometimes you got to, get someone to get on the edge of your seat. And the Rockies, unfortunately, have done that to us time and time again this season. But thankfully tonight, they come out victorious, winning this game 3-1. And across the board, I mean, they only used 3 pitchers tonight, which is a recipe for success. Like, I know here we are on August the 20th, so there's only so many baseball games left to play. But, at the end of the day, the Rockies are now kind of really leaning into this youth movement, letting go of guys like Elias Diaz. You've got Drew Romo behind the plate. A lot of the young guys are going to start to play on a regular basis. I mean, looking at the lineup tonight, you have Blackman leading off, Tovar, Doyle, your regular guys, McMahon, Rogers. Toglia looks like he solidified himself as at least a short-term solution for the Rockies at first base. Nolan Jones, welcome back. Beck was in the lineup tonight. And, of course, Drew Romo batting 9th. So I like to see that the Rockies are leaning into this youth movement a little bit more. Obviously, there's not much left to play for from a competitive perspective this season. Like, the playoffs are not even a pipe dream. Like, I don't even know what you want to consider. It's just it's a non-thought. Like, the Rockies and the playoffs just don't belong in the same sentence. They haven't belonged in the same sentence for about 5 years now, unfortunately. So I guess the one thing that you're playing for the rest of this season is to try to figure out what you got with some of these guys, right? And that's why, as much as I loved Elias Diaz and whatnot, I like the idea of bringing Drew Romo in there. He gets his first career base knock tonight, a base hit for Mr. Romo. I think he was something like 10 or 11 at-bats in before he got his first official major league hit. And that's got to be a little bit of an antsy kind of pressing type of situation, right? Where you're kind of, all right, I didn't get a hit here. I didn't get a hit there. Oh, shoot, I'm 0 for 4. Ooh, I'm 0 for 6. Ooh, I'm 0 for 8. And then you finally break through. So shout out to Drew Romo tonight doing some good stuff. But let's get back to Austin Gomber here real quick. He's 30 years old, and we know that he has 1 more year of team control for the Rockies. But Austin Gomber is in a little bit of a crossroads in his career where I think this season, without having the numbers directly in front of me, I just think from a competency perspective, this has probably been the best season of Austin Gomber's career, at least as a part of the Rockies organization. This is a guy that, was obviously the centerpiece in the trade that sent Nolan Arenado to the St. Louis Cardinals, along with Eleris Montero, who's down and out. And, Gomber has really kind of struggled to solidify himself with this Rockies club up until this season. And a little bit's I don't want to say by design, but by committee. Like, he was always going to be a starting pitcher for this team, but when Kyle Freeland gets hurt and German Marquez gets hurt, right? Like, there's less guys. Antonio Sensatella's not pitching right now, right? So just more opportunities for guys, despite the outcomes with their starts and whatnot. And the reason I bring that up is, what is Austin Gomber, right? Because he's been decent this season. He's had his moments. He was fan-freaking-tastic tonight. I mean, if Austin Gomber is going to be able to pitch like that 3 out of every 4 starts, or even 2 out of every 4 starts, right, you got something with this guy. But that has just not been the case from the body of work from Austin Gomber this season. And so he's got that 1 more year of team control. But, you're 30, right? You're no longer 27, 28, where you still got those 29, 30, 31 prime years where you're like, I got 3-4 years to, really solidify myself or, make a name for myself, right? This is kind of do or die time for Austin Gomber. And look, we know the Rockies like him. I think he likes pitching, with the Rockies. I think he likes the organization and whatnot. Is there a contract extension potentially looming this offseason, right? Maybe if he finishes strong. I don't know if that's the right way to go, but that's the type of thinking here with Austin Gomber down the stretch, is you want to see what exactly is this guy? What are we going to get from Austin Gomber? How legit is this guy going to be? Is this a stopgap type of starting pitcher for us where we can slap a Band-Aid on an open wound this season and maybe next year, and then we, go our separate ways? Or is this a guy that the Rockies are looking at as, a formidable part of their rotation, a back-end type guy, for the next 4 or 5 seasons potentially. Maybe not quite that far. That would take him to 35. But, I'm saying take up his age 30, 31, 32, 33 seasons is kind of how I'm looking at it. But good stuff tonight from Austin Gomber. Happy for him. Happy for the Rockies as they take care of business tonight against the Washington Nationals. Okay, let's hit our first break. When we come back, we'll continue along with the conversation. Let's talk about the lineup tonight. Not a lot of fireworks from the lineup, but just a clean game. They did just enough. Nolan Jones back in the lineup. You'll love to see that. So we'll talk about how the Rockies scored their runs, what I saw tonight from them, and all of that good stuff when we come back right here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. Back in just a few minutes, folks. Okay, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to download America's #1 sportsbook. And I am an active FanDuel user. I adore FanDuel. And look, I'm not going to talk about any of the other competition out there in the sports betting world, but if you're on social media, you probably saw, some suspect lines for week 1 of the NFL season. Not at FanDuel. FanDuel's got the best lines out there, folks. My personal favorite sports book, but a lot of the competition, maybe the juice isn't worth the squeeze that it was, last year, the year before, whatever it might be, tightening the lines a little bit. I don't think that's going to happen with our friends over at FanDuel, guys, and you're going to get 3 weeks of NFL Sunday Ticket. The gem. That's what all football fans want, whether you like the red zone or you want to watch your favorite teams that are out of market, whatever it might be. NFL Red Zone or NFL Sunday Ticket, is an absolute essential part of a football fan's Sunday. And you're going to get 3 weeks essentially on the house when you bet $5, and you'll get that 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Be sure to check them out, guys. Like I said, I am an active FanDuel user. I absolutely, positively adore FanDuel, my personal favorite sports book. I know it's yours too if you're already betting with them. And if you're not, what are you doing, guys? You're going to get 3 weeks of NFL Sunday Ticket when you bet $5 only on FanDuel.com. Be sure to check them out. Let them know that Locked On Rockies sent you, and away we go. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this Tuesday, August the 20th, right around 7:30 local time here in Colorado, as the Rockies take down the Washington Nationals by a final score of 3-1, 2 in a row now for Colorado, or is it 3 in a row? No, because they lost on Saturday, if I remember correctly. All these games, just like, especially when I do the postcast, all these games just blend together. I mean, it's like I kind of separate them by series, but like the series themselves really blend together and whatnot. But tonight, the Rockies turn in a pretty solid effort, their second consecutive win. They end up winning that series over the weekend against the San Diego Padres and get out to a nice start here to start the roadie with just a nice, clean, competitive, I don't want to say easy, but non-Rockies-esque win where, they didn't have to win 9-7 tonight or 7-4, right? It was just a classic, traditional 3-1 baseball game, quick baseball game. And thankfully, the Rockies came out on top. We talked about Austin Gomber in the first segment. He was phenomenal tonight. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. But let's talk about the lineup here for a few minutes, guys, because, obviously they don't light up the scoreboard tonight to the Rockies, but they do a good job of getting out to a good start and kind of riding that momentum. The Rockies 3 runs. So the first one came in the first inning, and they had a pair of runs there in the 6th inning. So let's break it on down. And the Rockies did a really good job of jumping on Mr. Hers. What is his first name? Let's get that right. I think it's Nick. Is it Nick Hers, if I remember? I think it's Nick or DJ Hers, excuse me. The 23-year-old starting pitcher for the Washington Nationals. They did a good job of jumping on him early in this game. And he finishes with 5 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs. 2 of them were earned, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So the strikeouts were working for Mr. Hers tonight. That came out weird. But, I think the Rockies did a good job there in the top of the first inning of pouncing on him. Charlie Blackmon led off the game with a ground out. And from there, Ezequiel Tovar, who's top 5 in Major League Baseball in doubles this season, he hits his 34th double of the year, this one to left field. And what is there not to love about Ezequiel Tovar? Or I think he's top 5 in hits, maybe not doubles. But either way, what is there not to love about Ezequiel Tovar? The guy is an absolutely sensational player. And he's 23 years old. He signed that massive contract extension not too long ago. So he's going to be under team control now for the next handful of seasons. So I'm excited to see what Mr. Tovar can do with this Rockies club, moving forward. But this season, him and Brenton Doyle have been the lone bright spots on this Rockies team on a pretty much game in and game out basis. And speaking of Brenton Doyle, after the Ezequiel Tovar double, runner on second, 1 out, Brenton Doyle does a good job of advancing him to third. Rockies get themselves runners on the corners as he hits a line drive to right field. So I say it time and time again, the Rockies' recipe for success is Ezequiel Tovar and Brenton Doyle having good games. If Tovar and Doyle are able to, be productive at the plate and do some good things and put themselves in a position to score or drive some runs in on their own, it's only going to result in good things for the Rockies. Now, are they going to win every game when these guys pop off? No. But in some blind math, when Ezequiel Tovar and Brenton Doyle have themselves some pretty good games, I'd say that their chances to win go up like 50%, if not more, just because those are the two guys that set the tone in this Rockies lineup. And I think that's where things get a little contagious, with this club when it comes to kind of stringing some hits together. That was not necessarily the case tonight, as the Rockies only had, they had 10 hits. So they did do a good job tonight of, multi-hit games for Tovar, Doyle, McMahon as well. So they did do a good job of kind of stringing those hits together. It didn't result in a ton of runs. Obviously, only 3 scored for them tonight. But at the end of the day, it was just enough, or not just enough. I guess they had 1 insurance run to spare there in the bottom of the 9th inning, but it was enough to get the job done tonight if you are the Colorado Rockies. So looking at it, Charlie Blackmon had a base hit in 5 plate appearances tonight. Tovar, as we mentioned, a pair of hits tonight. He's hitting 274 on the season. Brenton Doyle, who was hitting was really struggling out of the gate to start the year. Obviously, had that red hot July. He's now hitting 269 tonight, this season. He drew a walk tonight and also had a pair of hits. Ryan McMahon drove in a run for the Rockies. He had a pair of hits. Brendan Rodgers with a hit. Toglia 0-4 tonight, but he did draw a walk, so at least one productive at bat from him. Nolan Jones, welcome on back to the lineup. I know it's been a real tough season for him, but he had a base hit tonight, an RBI at that. And Drew Romo, as we mentioned, had his first base hit of his major league career. So you absolutely love to see that. And I forgot to mention this, the Rockies scored their first run in that first inning after they had runners on the corners, Doyle with the single, Tovar with the double. Ryan McMahon brings home Ezequiel Tovar to score. He hits a line drive single to left field. And that is how the Rockies get up 1-0. They led in the first inning, and they led the rest of the way. No come from behind victory tonight for the Rockies or for the Nationals in that matter. And, that's the other thing is bringing it back to Gomber here for just a moment. You go out there, clean, 8-pitch first inning, and to have, I know it's not a ton, but to even just get 1 run of run support and give yourself that 1-0 lead, there's a little bit of a collective sigh of relief. There's a little bit of an exhale, I would imagine, on Austin Gomber, where you can just okay, I'm pitching with a lead. Maybe it's not a 5-run lead or a 2-run lead or a 3-run lead, but it's at least a lead, in some capacity or the other. And I think that also helps Austin Gomber dial in. In addition, the biggest thing for Austin Gomber is getting through that first inning clean. And they were talking about on the broadcast tonight, when Austin Gomber's in a groove, he works very quickly, very efficiently. Pitch the ball, get back on the rubber, pitch the ball, get back on the rubber, right? Like it's a very fluid type of motion with Austin Gomber. And I just think part of the reason why the Rockies were successful tonight, in particular, Mr. Gomber, is getting out of that first inning, but also when you have that initial run, right? Because how many times has Austin Gomber pitched at Coors Field or just pitched in general with the Rockies? And, if you're at home, you're already down 2-0, down 3-0, whatever it might be. So there's a couple of different ways to go about it. if you're Austin Gomber. But I love to see that tonight from him. Also, am I tripping? I think I apologize. As I was talking about that, I was making the comparison to Austin Gomber. I think I said something earlier in the first segment about how he pitched the top of the Rockies were on the road tonight. So Austin Gomber pitched in the bottom of the first inning. If I said top of the first inning, I apologize. That would be the case, obviously, if the Rockies were at home. I think I had a brain fart in the first segment. So I apologize if you guys were listening. Like, this guy no ball? Like, what is this guy talking about? Yes, I do. I just a little bit of a brain fart, like I said. But at the end of the day, you like to see what the Rockies have been doing here over the last couple of games. Sixth inning here, the Rockies add an additional couple of runs. Nolan Jones, welcome on back to the lineup. He hits an RBI single to center field. That brings around Brenton Doyle to score. That was in the top of the sixth inning. So nice to see Nolan Jones get his stroke back on track here a little bit. He did mention in his post-game interview that he did come up early in that game with the bases loaded, was unable to get the job done. But nice to see him give the Rockies a little bit of an insurance run there in the top of the sixth inning. And then Jordan Beck, he ends up getting a run home after a throwing error from third baseman Jose Tena. Brendan Rodgers came around to score that one. At that point, the Rockies were up 3-0. And as we mentioned, C.J. Abrams hits his 18th home run there in the bottom of the sixth inning for the lone run of the night for the Washington Nationals. And that's how we get ourselves our final score of 3-1. So nice job from the lineup. Nothing crazy, but they just got out there and they did their job. You love to see that. And then with Austin Gomber on the mound and the bullpen, Tyler Kinley and Chivilli as well, keeping this game close, keeping the Rockies out in front, and helping the Rockies get this victory. All right, let's hit our final break. When we'll come back, we'll put a bow on the show. A couple of closing thoughts on tonight's game between the Rockies and the Nationals, and we'll also take a look at what is ahead for the Colorado Rockies in their next game, which is, of course, tomorrow. Another interesting start time here locally in Colorado against the Washington Nationals, as the Rockies can actually win the series tomorrow if they can go out there and win that game. So we'll see if they can do just that. But we'll hit a break, come back, and continue along with the conversation right here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. Stick with us, folks. There you are, Prize Picks. All right, you guys, you know the deal. Let me tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. That sounds fantastic. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. There's a ton of promotions going on for football season as well, guys. Let me tell you about those. One Caleb Williams passing yard will get you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss out on this deal on Prize Picks, because it's gone when September ends. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. Prize Picks is also available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Guys, download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game. Be sure to check out our friends over at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first-time deposit match of up to $100. Get in on Prize Picks. Let them know that Locked On Rockies sent you, and away we go. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there as we continue along with the Rockies talk. They take game one of this series against the Washington Nationals by a final score of 3-1. Austin Gomber deals. Lineup does just enough. And that's all she wrote tonight for Colorado as they take care of business, beating the Washington Nationals. And again, guys, the Rockies now at 47-79, fifth place, distant fifth place there in the National League West. We know that this season's over and done with from a competitive standpoint, but I like to see that they're still competing. They're still going out. And look, Washington's not the best team in the world. I think they're, essentially 10 games better than the Rockies, 9 games better at 56-70. They're in fourth place in the National League East. But you got to play who's on your schedule, right? And it's just, I like the fact that the Rockies go out there, take care of business, get the job done, and do it in a rather clean and efficient manner. Like I said, like no digging yourself out of holes, no having to burn your bullpen and have to go through 4, 5, 6 different guys, right? Because one guy can't get out of the inning. Austin Gomber gives you 7 really strong innings. The bullpen cleans it up from there. And just one of those rare, clean games, in my opinion, from the Colorado Rockies. So we shall see. I'm excited to see how Drew Romo progresses throughout the rest of the year. Obviously, he gets his first base hit here tonight of his major league career, so you'll love to see that. And the other question mark with the Rockies, and I'm not going to hold it against him if he never figures it out this year, but Nolan Jones. Nolan Jones for the, not this year, but the 2 seasons prior, really had kind of established himself as one of the few fun guys on this team, right? Oh, Nolan Jones up the bat. You want to pay attention to that. We know with the glove out there in the outfield, him and Brenton Doyle make a pretty when Nolan Jones is on and Brenton Doyle's playing the way that he's playing, that actually might be one of the better outfields in Major League Baseball, to be honest with you. 2 guys that are 26, 27 years old in the prime apex of their careers, both have some really good pop at the plate and both can play excellent defense out there in the outfield. And so, like I said, it's been a struggle for Nolan Jones this season, plenty of injuries. Even when he's been healthy, the production just hasn't been there, or at least the production that we're accustomed to from a guy like Nolan Jones. But he does get a base hit tonight, and it is an RBI. We mentioned it, top of the 6th inning, brings home Brenton Doyle to score. That made the score 2-0 at that point. And it's just one of those situations where, like I said, I'm not going to, if he ends up hitting, 215, he's hitting 204 right now. Like, right, if he finishes with like a sub 220 batting average and the production, the numbers aren't there, like, okay, he had an off year. The injuries kind of, caught up to him. But, Nolan Jones is still one of those guys that I get excited about. I'm willing to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt here as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. He even mentioned that in his post-game press conference tonight, that it's been a tough season for him. So we'll see what the rest of the season has in store for Mr. Nolan Jones, as well as the youngster Drew Romo. Toglia, like I said, looking to solidify himself as the short-term answer for the Rockies at first base as well. So there's definitely some interesting storylines that I think will determine the direction that the Rockies try to take this offseason, right? Like, which positions do they prioritize, and all that kind of stuff. So we shall see. But before we get out of here, folks, let's take a look at tomorrow's game. Again, another 4:45 first pitch scheduled here in Colorado. The game is in Washington, of course, but 4:45 is the time that the game will start here in CO. And it'll be Tanner Gordon on the mound, and he'll take on Mitchell Parker of the Washington Nationals. Tanner Gordon, rough, 0-4 with a 7 ERA this year. Let's take a look at his last time out. He's only made a handful. Let's see. Well, he's kind of been a hybrid guy for the Rockies in this one. Or no, he just didn't get out of the first inning on August 14th against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So he's made a few starts for the Rockies. His first one was on July 7th against Kansas City. He was actually, he was not good in that one, but he did go 6 1/3. But last time out against Arizona on the 14th of August, 2/3 of an inning pitched, 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned. He hit a batter, 2 walks, no strikeouts. So that is what he's going to have to try to right his wrongs with when he takes the mound tomorrow against Washington. His last time out before that, though, on August the 9th against an Atlanta Braves team that has some talent, he went 5 solid innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, all of them earned, gave him a home run in that game, but did strike out 7. So we'll see what Tanner Gordon, he's looking for his first win of the season, is Mr. number 29. So we'll see what he has in store for us tomorrow. And Mitchell Parker, the starter, the 24-year-old here for the Washington Nationals, he's 6-7 with a 4.44 earned run average. Looking at his last time out, he's made a lot of starts for the Nationals this year. That was on August the 15th on the road against the Philadelphia Phillies. He got rocked. 3 innings pitched, 10 hits allowed, 9 earned runs, 2 home runs as well, in addition to 2 walks. He did have 6 strikeouts, though, in those 3 innings pitched. So you're going to get maybe some swings and misses tomorrow from the Rockies lineup, but obviously, this is a guy whose ERA has ballooned here a little bit in recent memory. So we'll see if the Rockies can take advantage of that. So it'll be Mitchell Parker, the starting pitcher tomorrow for the Washington Nationals, going up against Tanner Gordon for the Colorado Rockies. And that'll be your matchup as the Rockies on tomorrow, that being Wednesday, August the 21st, will look to win this series and make that 2 consecutive series victories, which would be fantastic for this Rockies club. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for me. Appreciate you guys tuning into the show tonight. Make sure to subscribe to the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. And you can also follow me on social media at Media by AP. Rockies win tonight 3-1. Good stuff. We'll be back at it again mañana with yet another episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Enjoy your Tuesday night, folks, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.